I had to make a couple comments about Gerald Celente, and I know he lost money, and I don't think it's going to be for long. I think he'll get it back because his is more of a higher profile case, and he's going to it'd be stupid not to give it to him because he's never going to shut up. But looking at his site, I found something kind of interesting. He looks like he does some custom work besides the Trends Research letter, and I assume this is custom work because he has a little confidentiality statement here about the Trends Research Institute maintains a strict policy of confidentiality on all projects, assuming custom special projects for clients that are asking for something outside what's in the newsletter. I'm going to comment on what he did, as far as paper trades, takes physical delivery. First off, I don't think all the brokerage firms and all this, there's going to be a catastrophe right away. I think it's got a little ways to go yet. John Corzine, he was a former New Jersey governor. I never thought much of him. But I think, well, I'm sure there's a lot of them on the top. It's just how they are. But it's not going to, I don't think you're going to have, there's not going to be widespread problems right away. But me personally, I have another account with, well, I'm not going to say where it is, but they got a lot of exposure to French banks, and I'm going to be pulling that out of there in 2012. I don't want to do it in 2011. As far as, I want to point out a couple other things. Talk about paper trades, and I know when Alex Jones, he talks about the global banking system, the shadow banking system, and everything. There's a lot of drama and stuff. I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm arguing for these banking system, but it is all out in the open. You can read exactly what goes on. I also want to make a couple comments about Nouriel Roubini. He's the other Dr. Doom. Now, the Dr. Doom I like is Mark Farber. This guy I don't particularly care for that much because he's been pretty much saying for people to avoid gold. He used to say that anyway, avoid the commodities, that type of stuff. He has more recent prediction here. This is August 30th, 2011. Future predictions, he says, has time to move into cash to avoid a perfect storm hitting the global economy in 2013. Now, he's saying be in cash by 2013. Now, what is, I don't totally think that's totally bad in some ways. I think it would be better to be in cash maybe than in certain other financial instruments, and I'm talking paper cash, like notes, 50s and 100s and shit like that, not cash that's sitting in a bank. But I don't know exactly what he means by that, but we do know that Lindsey Williams, and I got some faith in him. I think he's got some pretty good information from where he's getting it from. He says everything on paper is going to be pretty much worthless, and that the dollar is going to be greatly devalued. So what does that tell you? You'd be better off having more of your money in physical silver and gold than cash. And I would think cash would mean paper notes. I mean, because I don't think the cash is going to go to completely nothing. That might be smart to keep a good reserve of cash around. And Nouriel Roubini is PhD, Leonard Stern School of Business, New York University, and he's in economics. He has his newsletter and all this type of stuff. I think people are familiar with him, but I don't necessarily like. I think he's been wrong on too many things too many times to listen to every word he's got to say like it's the gospel. But he might be right about this on 2013, or even maybe it's more like 2012. Now I want to point out one other thing. Now I'm not going to knock this site here or anything like this. I don't even know about these people. It's universal investment platforms. These are private placement platforms. I'm not saying anything bad about these people or anything like that. I don't know what they're about at all, but they have some very good educational tools on here about what the private placement program is. I've seen some of this stuff. I've seen some astronomical wealth that went on these things, and it's very flexible, and you have extremely high returns, and usually the money is kept in offshore accounts, like on Cayman Islands or something, treasury notes, and it's, they're tax havens. Like, for instance, even in Europe, like if you're running a company, you set up a company, you want to have it incorporated in Cyprus. Cyprus is a tax haven, and I'm not saying I'm some kind of big expert on this stuff, but these things are legal. They're not illegal. They're legal. And if you're in business, you should try to do what makes you the most money. Now, at this thing, you might find it very interesting because it gives you a very nice synopsis of what the private placement program is about. And this is a PDF document right off their website for educational purposes only. And I'm not saying, like, in principle, this is the best thing in the world, because I'm just stating that it exists and it is legal. It's not like, some of the more conspiracy theorists think there's this secret program out there. It's semi-secret, but these are closed trading platforms, not available to the public, and you usually need $100 million or more to get in on them. In other words, and they explain about money creation. And I know people disagree with, I'm not saying this is a proper thing, but this is how it works in the real world right now. The first reason why this business exists is to create money. More money is created by creating debt. You as an individual can lend out $100 to a friend. You can make an agreement that the interest for that loan is 10%, so that he must pay you back $110. So in effect, you created $10 even though you don't actually see that money. And they use on these trading platforms, it could be a lot of different things. It could be assets that are saved, that are secured by a safe SKR, safekeeping receipt. It could be bank guarantees, where bank is guaranteeing a loan, medium-term notes, standby letters of credit, as I'm kind of pointing to here. And the other thing is, and this is really kind of a very common sense, where it relates to maybe the financial crisis and the sovereign debt crisis that's probably going to be coming up in 2012. Talking about debt notes and debt, I guess in general, to issue such a debt note is very simple, but the issuer would have a problem to find a buyer unless the buyer believes that the issuer is financially strong enough to honor that debt note upon maturity. And, as we noticed in our case in the United States, we're having a lot more problem trying to find people to buy our debt. So, and what is interesting about these trades, there's these leverage trades, and I know Max Kaiser talks about, I'm going to tell you flat out, you'd be better off reading this stuff on this site than listening to all these entertainment people that go on these channels left and right about all this garbage, because you'll actually get a real education as to what goes on. They're talking about these the private placement arena, the private placement program. All activities on the bank side are done as off-balance sheet activities, and as such, the bank can benefit in many ways. Off-balance sheet activities are contingent assets and liabilities. As such, the value depends upon the outcome upon which the claim is based, similar to that of an option. Off-balance sheet activities appear on a balance sheet only as memoranda items. So that's why there's a lot of stuff that's going on that there could be they talk about the derivatives bubble, which I don't understand, but this has to do with it. All trading programs in the private placement arena involve trades with discounted debt notes in one way or another. It's a closed market, private market, and usually it's by invitation only. Most of the time, from what I've seen. Talking about the trader must be in control of the investor's fund, which means that he's not. In other words, he has to be in control of the investor's fund at the time of the trade. So, I mean, you almost think about what that can mean in other ways, and I'm not going to say anything about that beyond what it just stated there. Most people do not believe that a yield of 50 to 100% per week is possible. I don't know about that, but I heard of like 20% a month. And that's still astronomical when you start running the numbers, on especially $100 million. So, you might want to read this. I'm going to point out, I don't know nothing about these people per se. I've seen some of these things with the closed trading platforms and type of things that can go on it and the type of wealth some people have, but they have various PDF documents on here to explain them, and I think it's a very good education as far as what goes on in paper markets. Now, as far as Gerald Celente, to me that was like, I think he'll get his money back, and if he's doing that stuff, big deal. I mean, I don't know if he's got all his money in gold though physically. I kind of doubt it, to tell you the truth. I think he's probably got gold stored in different countries or something. I doubt if he's got it $8 million stored in some warehouse by someplace nearby. I doubt if he's doing that. I think it's being held in various accounts at different places in banks and stuff like that. I imagine that's how he does it. What most people probably wouldn't do that are very small investors. But I don't know. It's kind of funny that he did that, but he'll get his money back.